Hi, my name's Bob Grenier and I'm a volunteer with the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, so thank you for joining me this Sunday evening. I am going to do a little bit different things tonight. I have just some philosophical things to talk about and some intrigue things, and also then we are going to look at something for the first time for me and for you and discuss how the object was made and whether it may be telling us something. And we're going to look at it with macro photography and also optical microscope photography. And so this will be new to you as it is to me. And it may all go wrong, but anyway, let's try it anyway. So how is everyone? Can anyone hear me? That would be great if someone can tell me. I think I got my mic working again. There was something wrong last week with the hub. And so there's no conspiracies about what happened with the dropout in the video last week. It was a dropout of the Wi-Fi connection, and it was all due to the hub. I thought I was going through the hub, and the hub was the problem for the microphone, and it was the problem for the internet connection as well. So it wasn't just that we had discussed for the first time that vacuum decay was possible. Although maybe the universe was not wanting the information to be public, but it is public now, and so there we go. Audio is good. Hi Steen, hi Space Case, hi Gordon, hi Corky, hi Artifact, hi Daniel Shaw, and we've got a nice quorum here this evening for this rather relaxed session. Hi Cosmic Dave, hi Space Case, hi Scotty Sales, hi Martin Hughes, hi Simeon. And hi, Michael Marsden. I hope I've got your names right. Hi, D2105K. And Ambrogio. Maybe my Italian isn't so good. So, what am I talking about this evening? I'm going to be talking about invalidation, inference rather. That might be the same as invalidation. Inference, and truth. And on the screen there we have an object, a curious looking object, that I was first made aware of a few days after my presentation that I gave last week, which was O-Day light and leptons, clustering of fractal EM toroids leading to vacuum decay of matter. And the reason I had this on the screen was that it was the platonic solid that was assigned to the ether. I had used it in a video a long time ago when I was contemplating what was going on in these systems, and I sang a little bit of Bowie along to the video animation that I had created. And I put our 3-level TORs on here for the sake of imaging something up which might compress stuff into a closed volume, a very small box. And it was the simpler version of something that might be very complicated, that would suck material in and strip it of its electrons and twist it in its frame of reference to the Dirac sea and causing it to fall apart and become prima materia, which would then potentially burst out and form new matter. So that was that. And so I was sent this curiosity here. You can look at, for those that know this curiosity already, you probably have some history of trying to understand what it is, and no one actually really knows, and we'll just go through a couple of publicly available sites with some commentary in there. And then on the right we have another curiosity which I think we'll come to a little bit later, but let's go and have a look at what people think this object is on the left. But before we do that, there's this subject I have on the screen there of invalidation. And I guess when things are in dispute, so for instance this thing here, or the structure of the cosmos, you get a lot of man-made concepts for what is going on. Now, of course, in the case of this structure here, this was looking at the background radiation, cosmic background radiation, and trying to see what that is telling us. But that is actually nature, and we are trying to interpret it. This is something that we're trying to interpret it via inference or via data. What is going on there? In this case, this is man interpreting data, and on the left here we've got something made by man, and we're trying to interpret what man meant by making this and what it is for. And so this starts with nature and man's interpretation. This starts with man's creativity, and then we are trying to interpret what's going on. And different people's experience will try to put a template on or cast a view of what this is. But it could be true also that this item itself was created because of a philosophical concept of how nature is, or some other thing, or just a curiosity in mathematics or form, or it just seemed to be the appropriate thing to perform a certain task. Anyway, so we're going to have a look at the site here, but whenever you come to what you think is how something is working, and you put that out for wider review, you're always going to have different people's opinions, plus the historical kind of, how should we put this, wealth of knowledge that may or may not be more or less accessible, that people can draw upon to try and interpret the thing that is under consideration. Now, when there are vested interests in play, vested interests that have power in terms of controlling lines of communication or means of access to funds or perceived credibility, then people can skew other people's opinions based on the direction that this person with these levels of levers of control wish to skew their perception. And so this can be a charismatic person, this can be a person who has influence in the field of science, in the field of media, and other fields that may influence people's opinions. But what you can be certain of is the truth that is nature. Nature is always trying to tell you the truth. It isn't. It doesn't have an opinion. All it does is it. I've said this before. It just gives you the answer to a set of inputs, and in that way, it is de facto a quantum system. That the answer it gives you is the exact result that it would always give you, given all of the sets of parameters that were fed to it prior to giving that result. So it does not lie. It always tells you the truth. Where confusion can come is where your interpretation of that truth is skewed, either by your frame of reference, your past experience, or it's kind of layered confusion, where someone somewhere said that the universe was made based on a dodecahedron, and then someone made a structure of the dodecahedron on which the universe is meant to be made, and then they started to decorate it or make it into a useful form for a particular purpose. And then does that feed back into the science? So it's art and science. It's this whole thing of where is art just a reflection of the science that's within our consciousness? And so when we look at this, did someone, when they were looking at this, think to do what they did here because they had this in the back of their mind? What was going on between, coming to the conclusion here or the hypothesis here? Did this in someone's subconsciousness? So they might have seen it in a museum, or they might have heard about it, or whatever. and it played an influence into their thinking over here. I don't know, but I just thought it was curious the way the world works when I sent this out, and this was sent back to me by Charles Stryber. So thank you. I was not aware of this structure before. It wasn't in my consciousness as something to consider prior to earlier this week, but we are going to look at it now. So give me a second. I will pull up a couple of things that we can look at. And so these are just sites on the web. You can I'll give the links in the remoteview.icu blog after the presentation's gone out. So there's this one here that was found in East London by one Brian Campbell in his garden. He was digging some holes, and again it's quite similar to the one that I've just shown you. It has these various size holes, and it has these ridges around here, and these nubbins, these little sort of ring spheres of brass on little pedestals, and we've actually seen almost exactly this on the copper pipe that was cut by ball lightning by Henk Uren, which we reviewed recently. There was a little ball on top of a little pillar section which looked extremely similar to this, and you know, this is where you know it just is similar, or is it just similar? Does this have meaning as well as this? Does none of this have meaning? Is it just a piece of art, or is it form and function? Was it function that became a form that then became an art form? What was driving it? Excuse for the adverts here, but basically, you know, this guy Brian Campbell didn't know what it was, and then he went to Germany and he saw another one. This is a dodecahedron in Salzburg Roman Fort Archaeological Park, and he saw something and he goes, "Oh, that looks a lot like the one I have," and so he kind of realised that his piece wasn't unique, and it was apparently the first of these was found something like 300 years ago, buried in a field in the English countryside, along with some ancient coins. So if someone's burying something like this with coins, then this may have been considered something to be worth, you know, a lot of money. Now, in all of these commentaries here, I didn't see anything that along the hypothesis that I'm just going to make here. When I saw that this was buried with a load of ancient coins, the first thing I thought was this is like a child's toy, and you've got various denominations of coins, and you need to drop them through there to find out if they are the right size of the coin for that valuation. So I don't know why no one suggested that, but it's like it's been buried with coins, and this is my mind trying to work out what it was. And yes, some people have said that this might be some kind of dice, but then because of the different weights, because you've got holes of different sizes, then you would imagine that this wouldn't be a very fair dice, because it would tend to roll onto one face, and if you knew what face that was likely to be, you would be always winning the game. So yeah, so people say that maybe it's some sort of game. Some say that it could be some sort of targeting device. You look through the hole to the other one and you do range finding, and it says here, moreover, Roman soldiers usually fired solid lead balls from their slings, nothing that looked like the intricate and hollow dodecahedron. So I guess what they're saying here is you put your lead ball through here, and that particular ball would have a certain range if you were using a handheld sling here, so like a metal bullet. So, you know, not that. But one thing that really did come out of my very brief research earlier in the week here was that these things were found over Northern Europe and not in, or so far have been found over northern sort of colder areas of Europe. And the suggestion is that it could be something that was used to knit gloves, and so the different holes were fingers that people could use to knit the gloves. So I mean, I've been actually to a place on the Hadrian's Wall where there is a vast a selection of artifacts that have been taken up from this Roman fort there near to the centre of Hadrian's Wall last summer. And there are many dice, and the dice that they use are just literally like the dice we use today, the six-sided dice, very, very well made. And so, you know, it says useless as dice. So let's not say it's probably not dice. Okay, so this subject here is saying that the dodecahedrons may have been a masterpiece to show off a craftsman's metalworking abilities. Well, yeah, any artist who, you know, is worth their salt, if they want to prove themselves in a particular media, then they would choose to try and produce the finest item in that media. So if you were casting metal, then and brass, and so you can see here brass, which is one of the most beautiful materials for doing the Vega Valley experiments. In fact, the Vega Valley was made in brass. So it's been around for a long time, this metal combination of various different mixes. But you know, it's actually there's a lot of skill that's got to go into making something like this, which has these very round holes. Obviously the overall large geometric form, and then these little balls hanging off. If you're going to cast this, you've got an internal volume which is hollow. That adds complication to the casting process. It could be, or it could be that, you know, are these for range finding, for the size of the shot, or for coins, or for knitting, or whatever. But, you know, rich people would want, you know, ones that are really, really accurate. But I don't see that you would need such incredible accuracy for knitting. I don't know, but, you know, maybe it is a craftsman thing. That's a possibility. Now, there are people that are saying that these were, you know, druidic religious symbols, and it says here, many scholars have suggested the items had special cultural significance and perhaps even religious function for peoples in the former Gallic regions of northern Europe. The 1939 discovery of a well-preserved bronze dodecahedron in Crayfield, near Germany's border with Netherlands, lends credence to this idea. The object was found in the 4th century CE grave of a wealthy woman, along with remains of a bone staff. According to an essay from Gallo-Roman Museum at Tongeren in Belgium, the dodecahedron was likely mounted on the staff like a kind of scepter head, and probably ascribed with magical powers, bestowing religious power and prestige on its owner. Okay? Now, I could buy into that. I could buy into that if, for whatever reason, these people had an understanding of this. Of this being an important structure. But then that's me with my reference frame projecting onto the data that we've just seen. So, hold on, let me just pull up that as images. Where's it gone now? Okay, there we go. All right, back in the room. So, you know, but it's not something that people haven't considered, that this could be some sort of magical thing that had great significance in a counterfeiting tool. Yeah, maybe it's a counterfeiting tool. I mean, your mind can really wander. And so this is, when you're wondering what this is, and this is a thing that doesn't have a resolution for certain what it is, it's still an open question, then think about the thought processes that you're going through when you are trying to make an evaluation of what it is. What is driving you to tend to one decision or another? And think about how you could be influenced by even myself, things that you already know, and the people in the chat. You're having a chat right now, and you could be influenced by the people in the chat. And so You know, in doing this project of the MFMP, as we have found certain things, it's brought people on board that have a range of opinions, and sometimes they can appear to help, and then it turns out that they are really not there to help. We've had specific and very determined attacks in terms of trying to discredit, invalidate, in terms of actually visiting volunteer researchers by people that pretend to be well-meaning, and then what they're trying to do is literally destroy the strength in the project by offering something which then will be down the line in a court case, which will then be discrediting the person and hopefully discrediting the project. And we've managed to thread a needle through all of those different attacks. And if I was to try and attack a project that is largely founded on live science and community science, both driven from the grassroots and funded by the grassroots, and doesn't have this kind of legacy framework that bears down on it, controlling which way it goes. If I had tried all the other attempts, I might try something like some sort of advocacy or alternative ways to attack the project. And I wouldn't necessarily go to the person that I'd want to attack the project. I would go to third parties and get them to then influence someone to try and do it in a more organic way. And, you know, you could have nearly unlimited budget to do this. So you might reach out to a prominent YouTuber, for instance, via a third party or a group of third parties that say, why don't you look into this? Why don't you look into this? I'd like your opinion on this. I'd like your opinion on this, and let them run with it. Or you could be more direct. And this could, depending on the reach of this person and the respect that they have within the maker community or whatever, you could then come in and attack from a different angle. And I would clap my hands. I would say, well done. Well done. The thing is, it does not matter. Nature doesn't lie. The facts are facts. Okay? You can have an opinion about what the facts mean, but what nature says is not a lie. If you do not have an explanation for the non-melting, interlaced, circular cuts that are orthogonal to each other on the cut of that ball lightning in Henk Uren's Vega copper pipe experiment, if you do not have an explanation that's at least cogent for what nature is showing you is the truth, then you don't even get to play on the field. You don't get to play on the field. You're someone who knows nothing on the sidelines making up rubbish, and it's just trying to invalidate the good and the good understanding and the potential benefits that can come from something. It's spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt and disinformation. And it is an incredibly effective tool. But it does not change the facts. The facts will always remain. What nature says is true is what is true. Your interpretation may vary. So let's go back and see what other sort of things they've had on these kind of things. Okay, so the masterpiece idea. So you can go and have a look at this with the links afterwards. But essentially, someone's got a 3D printable one from Shapeways, and they go through and they create, using this, a bunch of fingers. No one I've seen has actually made a full glove. They got to the finger bit, but then, you know, there's some, you know, you'd have to be very good at knitting, I guess, to tie them all together. Or not very good, but just actually competent at knitting. I'm not a knitting expert. I have knitted a few things in my time, but when I was very much younger. Only a few things, like a rug and like a scarf. So nothing very special there. But you could go and try this, and you go and knitting with a Roman dodecahedron. So, you know, there was some thought about that there. And so there we go. There's lots of thoughts about what this is. There's another article here I have a link to, which has a couple of other article items here. I don't want to dwell on this too much. This one is a broken one, you can see here. What were they used for? How did they work and what do they do? Unfortunately, there is no documentation or notes about them. And this is very curious because the Romans were very good at documenting things. In fact, in this place I went to in the UK, they have all these parchments with very, very precise documentation about various transactions of items and stuff. So if there's no documentation or notes about them, it's quite surprising. So the function of the dodecahedra has not been determined. Nevertheless, many theories and speculations have been put forward over the centuries. Candlestick holders, wax was found inside one example, dice, survey instruments, devices for determining the optimal sowing date for winter grain, gauges to calibrate water pipes or standard army bases, staff or scepter decorations, a toy to throw and catch on a stick, or simply a geometric sculpture. Anyway, so again, they go through and look at these various things. Now, this is the one that I've got on the cover slide, and this is actually on Wikipedia. It's a very, very fine image on Wikipedia. This item, I think, is very, very interesting because unlike this one, which has, you know, a number that are very clearly different sizes, you can see in that shot. I don't know, to me, this one, and this one, they kind of look all pretty much the same. These ones are different sizes, that's true. However, they look pretty much the same. But the thing that sticks out to me on this, and I don't know if you can see it there, is that around each of these rings, they have a ring and a spot, a ring and a spot, a ring and a spot, a ring and a spot. So there's actually a couple of these images here. Maybe it's on this one. No, we'll go to that article in a minute. It's this one here, so you can see it a little bit clearer. It's less JPEG'd. So you see the ring and the spot, ring and the spot, ring and the spot, and over here you can see the ring and the spot on this face. You can see the ring and the spot there, the ring and the spot. So, is this telling us more, or is this from the sewing analogy? You would maybe your little hook spike thing that you were sewing with, you might pull the thread back and put the spike into here, and it just hold position when you did something else with the thread. I don't know. But if you did that, you wouldn't really need the ring. You would just need the pit. So, for me, is this telling us more that this is a pseudo scientific religious artifact? I don't know. There's a picture of this from a slightly different angle if it's going to give it to me. There you go. And you can see very, very clearly these Ra symbols here. All the way around here. And then again on this face. Okay. So, very, very curious artifact indeed. Another unproven theory claims that the dodecahedra are religious relics once used as sacred tools for the Druids of Britannia and Caledonia. However, there is no written account or archaeological evidence to support this view. Could it be that this strange item was simply a toy? So, there's nothing to say the Romans did whatever they did with it, and there's nothing to say that the Druids did what they did with it, Now here, this throws another spanner in the works, because in Bonn in Germany, there was not just two of these dodecahedra, there was also an icosahedron here. And the icosahedron is curious as well, because I've just shown you this one that has the ring spots around it from before, okay? This one has ring spots around a ring with these kind of like wavy functions going on. Now, this is definitely not for making gloves, is it? But it is a platonic solid. So we have a platonic solid here, and we have a platonic solid here. Okay? And so, and I think Plato, and it wasn't him, it was someone that he worked with, I think in Spain or something, I don't know. But there was this guy and said that basically the dodecahedron is the structure of the universe, and that the stars are inscribed upon it. Okay, and so that leads me to the second part of this thing, which is this kind of interpretive discussion that I'm trying to have with you. Okay, so this to me, you know, why bother? Is this just all decoration? Is it just all decoration? Maybe. What is this kind of beaded links through here? Maybe that's just some way that they made it. I don't know. Okay. I'd like to get this artifact in my hands and really study it. Anyway, so there we go. There's another shot of that sample there. I know you're all looking on the right, but anyway. Okay, so this whole Plato kind of idea that the universe is written, the stars are written on the faces of a dodecahedra is quite interesting. There was, in fact, one of these articles references this 2003 paper that was then kind of like dismissed, and then it came back in, I think this is in 2009. And for those that have read New Scientist for a long time, you see these ideas coming in and out where peers look at it and go, no, you're talking nonsense, or that experiment didn't work, or whatever. And then the original claimants come back. So I watched this over a number of decades when I was younger, this kind of play forward and backwards with ideas. And that's great. That's what science and learning should be about. But if you look at what it's specifically saying here, is that rings cut from the cosmic microwave background on opposite sides of the sky seem to match when one ring is rotated by 36 degrees, suggesting that the universe is like a dodecahedra wrapped around itself. Now, could it be that the original, what our universe is, was actually pretty much like a ball lightning of this type, let's say, and that the opposite ones have effectively opposite rotation, in not real rotation, but this kind of like spin rotation in the ether, and that has influenced the cosmic microwave background radiation signature, such that you can see the echoes all the way today. Are we living in a black hole? Are we living in a very, very large black hole? And if that is the case, what is in other black holes? You know, it gets your mind thinking. And again, this is where you are projecting onto something that may have no meaning, anything remote like that, where, you know, it's just completely, you're making it up because you're projecting how you feel onto it. Okay, so let me just get back to our slides. Where are we? Not our slides, our images. No. Okay. So here again, this is what I'm saying. That they're taking torah sections. Now you can imagine that if you were to rotate a point in the center of this face, then it would be rotating around its center, so you wouldn't get any real translation effect. But what they're saying is that by taking a torus out of, and the image here is a center of the faces of these dodecahedra, you end up by seeing the same on the opposite side. Now, is that really a wraparound universe, or is it that it was formed in an infinitesimally small vacuum object structure, and as it expanded out and consumed matter from another universe, let's say, very, very rapidly, and put it in as a prima materia into the center, and out of that prima materia, you have the constellations that make up our observable universe. The cosmic background radiation is just the boundary layer. You're seeing the inside of a you know what a black hole is, and you know, our universe would be the black hole's kind of own space-time framework. You know, outside there might be many other black holes that have their own space-time framework where, you know, things work at different speeds, or the matter is differently constructed because of the difference in the local space-time inside the bubble of their universe. So it seemed to have been kicked into touch, but now the notion of the ball-shaped universe is bouncing back thanks to a look at the radiation left over from the Big Bang. The idea of a balled-up universe was first proposed in 2003 by Jean-Pierre Luminet, a great name for someone looking at this kind of stuff, at the Paris Observatory in France as a way to explain some odd patterns in the cosmic microwave background. The afterglow of the Big Bang. The CMB contains warmer and cooler splotches which reflect the density variations of the universe in its youth. This fits nicely with the cosmological models, except that if you blur the microwave map into a big enough pixels, the splotches disappear and the map looks less random than you'd expect, and nobody can explain why. Luminet and his colleagues suggested that this might be because the universe is finite, but is wrapped around on itself. This means that if a spaceship could cross the universe and exit through one side, it would still be in the same region of space but would re-enter from the opposite side. So they're suggesting if you fly out through here and you come through this bit here, you pop round and come back in from the other side. It's like kind of one of those 1980s platform games where you went off the screen and you came back on the other side of the screen, right? So it's a bit like that. However, not if you think that this is an infinite universe and you're in a bubble of space-time and it has a finite boundary, yes, but these rotated sections are actually a reflection of the structure of the thing that forms the universe. Okay. But into the same region of space, but re-enter from the other side. Because of this wraparound effect, images of everything in the universe would appear to be repeated in the cosmic microwave background. The best way to explain the data was if the universe is like a dodecahedron, a ball-like shape with a surface of 12 identical pentagons. Last year, this shape of the universe seemed to have been ruled out when Andrew Jaffe and Anastasia Niachu at Imperial College London performed a more detailed comparison between the predictions for the size of the CMB splotches that would be visible in dodecahedral universe and the actual splotches measured by the Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe, WMAP. The team found no match, New Scientist. So this was when it was debunked. So the article that I'm looking at here refers to the 2003 article. Then you have this debunking in 2006 because they found no match. However, but now Budwigin Rukema, an astronomer at the Nicolaus Copernicus University in Poland, and his colleagues have reached the opposite conclusion using a different method. Essentially, the team cut rings from a version of the WMAP data taken from opposite sides of the sky, twisted the cutout rings relative to each other, and looked for matches. They also considered variations in the orientation of the entire dodecahedron over the sky to ensure that some of their pairs of rings were cut from the opposite flat sides of the dodecahedron instead of from its corners or edges. They found that those rings were a close match if one ring was rotated by about 36 degrees around their perpendicular axis. See diagram. Okay, now I can tell you I'm very familiar with rotating because I had to do this a lot when I made that little structure that I showed you last week in the previous week. Okay, and because I think it was Plato that said that the ratio of human or people that have studied this, the ratio of the human, this golden ratio, is imbued into the dodecahedron because you have this 36 degrees, you have the 72 or whatever it is degrees. If you make a point out here and a point out here, you end up with a golden triangle, which is the sort of 5-pointed star. Okay, so it's embedded within the dodecahedron, the golden ratio. Okay. Importantly, calculations for dodecahedral universe predict that this is the angle you would see. I really didn't expect to find anything like this, says Rakuma. The team's work has been submitted to the journal Astronomy and Astrophysics. The fact that they have found this 36-degree result is as predicted is interesting and unexpected, says Jaffe. He adds that his own earlier analysis did not test the effect of rotating the orientation of the entire dodecahedron, and that could explain the discrepancy between their results. However, Rukema admits that there is still a 9% possibility the matches he found could have risen by chance. 9%! 9%! Imagine if you had a medication that was as effective to totally destroy the thing that it is intended to destroy 91% of the times. It completely got rid of it 91% of the times. You would be the richest man on earth, because you'd actually have something that delivered a real benefit to the patient. Okay? He's saying there's only a 9%, there's a 9% chance that I could be wrong. Very, very specific, isn't it? So there's a 91% chance, which is pretty good. Pretty good that he's right. He hopes that more detailed measurements of the cosmic microwave background by the European Space Agency's Planck satellite, due to be launched later this year, so that would have been later in 2009, will help settle the question, though there is no guarantee that measurements taken from our restricted vantage point inside the universe could ever reveal the answer. Sadly, we may never know. We may never have data good enough for us to know for sure, says yeah. Okay. So there we go, 12th of January 2008. So that was actually a little bit earlier than I said. So there we go. What do you think about that? There's lots of assumptions about the cosmic microwave background. But given all of those assumptions, it is pretty curious that if you orient your reference frame in such a way that you end up with opposite sides with a rotation of 36 degrees, having coherent patches of intensity of the cosmic microwave background in the structure. Now, what immediately comes to mind with that is the way that they process the data. Somehow, the mathematics is producing an artifact that is 91% accurate to this observation. Is it just the way that it was looked at? So what we're going to do is, for the first time, we are going to look at this artifact by Henk Uren. Okay, this is a quartz liner that Henk had over his Vega experiments last year, and I think into this year as well, but definitely last year. And so many of the experiments, what happened is you have your anode coming down and here, and this stops the otherwise chamber, the large chamber, which is also the cathode, from having an easy discharge path to the anode. Okay, it's kind of like the glass on a vacuum capacitor preventing the discharge to the anode. Yeah, but still, all over this there are blotches. And the curious thing about these blotches, I said, Henk, I really want to have a look at that anode cover that you have, because I think we might see something interesting. And you might even see something interesting as I'm rotating this around right now. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But we're going to see it under a camera, a macro camera. And we're going to have a look at it under the microscope, hopefully. And I think we're going to see something interesting just by my using my own eyes here. Not using my own eyes. And so let's do this together. So before we do that, how is everyone? What questions? Do you have any questions there for me at this stage? I'll tell you a little bit more about that particular sample. It comes from a reactor where, yes, via a sequence of events, Henk was able to create a free-floating fireball for around about 2 or 3 seconds repeatedly. Okay, and we do have that on video, and that will be shared. If you can create a free-floating fireball, and it was macro scale, for 2 seconds, then if you understand the parameter space, then you should, in theory, be able to create a free-floating fireball or ball lightning for much longer periods of times. If you look at what has been achieved in tokamaks around the world and in laser impact fusion technologies, 2 seconds is a very, 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 very long time compared to what they have achieved. And when you see this video, you will see sometimes that the ball breaks down and it shoots towards the anode, even though there is this quartz tube covering it. And I believe that what we are looking at here is the impact marks of those discharges to the attempted discharges towards the anode. And so I think that what we're going to look at here, you and me together for the first time, is very, very significant. And obviously I'd like to maybe cut out sections, because you will see, because I can see with my own eyes, that it's not just the overall macro shapes. There is microstructure, and there is a clear zone where there's nothing going on. And to my eye, and I think we're going to see this, there is some features in the dead center of some of these impact marks. So, okay, so I'm just going to have a look at what you've said here. Any thoughts on John St. Clair and his patents? No, I don't. It's bagels and variers all the way down, mate. Quite possibly. I think we might see something here. Well, this isn't quartz in its kind of like spiral form. This is fused quartz, so it doesn't have that crystal resonant piezo structure. But you can imagine if it's in the reactor for long enough, there might be some recrystallization going on because of localized phase changes. So it could start to sing as the experiment progresses. Well, that's very interesting, Richard Mueller. Please send a link to either the description in this video. He's saying that the helium fusion reactor has such impact marks on its slice tube for their reactor. So please put it either in the description of the video or put it in at remoteview.icu so that we can see those images. Okay, so I'm just going to crack on. And we're going to see what this is. Now, it did work earlier when I had a quick setup just a few minutes before we went live. So I will see if this works. And I've got it actually set up in the presentation so that when I press play, you will see, hopefully, what I've got on this screen. So at the moment it just looked like that. So you're going to see live what I'm going to see when I turn the camera on over here. Okay, so hopefully this will work. I don't know. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, hello. Right, okay, so immediately I can move I can push the table up and down here. Look at what we've got over. Oh, I need to switch computers. Okay, over here, look, we've got a geometric form here straight away. So I'm going to move this a little bit this way. Okay, look at this. Look at this already. Okay, well, look. Oh my God, this is so many levels going on here. Look at this. Okay, I'm gonna. I've not got the light on at the moment, but so you can see already there's a fractality to this. So you've got a very big structure here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's got a triangle in the center of that one. But look what you're seeing around it. It's not just these big ones. There are many, many, many ones that are... it's got some grid on there. I don't want that. Take the grid off. Why has it got the grid on there? Can I get rid of the grid? Oh dear. There's a grid on there. I don't know. That's just coming from the camera. I'm afraid you're going to have that. You can see that there are these impact marks on here, which are same as the very large ones, but they are smaller. Let's put it like that. They're smaller. Okay. Now, I can already see there's some damage to what's going on in here. Now, what is this? What is this? What am I looking at here? Is this the sodium that was talked about in the previous paper that I referred to last week? Is the glass being converted? I don't know. This will require me to cut it, probably gold coat it, and put it under the SEM, and then I can then determine the element distributions on there. Okay, so we're going to have a look around. What can we see? What can we see? Okay, there's some nice ones down here. And the great thing about this, because it's the same diameter, I should be able to just, look at that. Look at that. Look at the, come back there. Look at that in the center frame there. Look, that strike mark, highly focused, something going on the middle there. Look at that. Can you see it? This is like this looks like a 6-sided structure. This one's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is look at this one over here. Actually, it looks like this is the toroid hits flat on. Looks like the toroid has hit side on, and one side you've got a dark spot, and another one. Oh my! This is going to be an absolute joy to look at in further detail. Look at the center of this one. This is a 6-sided structure. It has this quiet zone, and then dead in the center, this is clearly brown mark here. Okay, very clear. There's some. Okay, so in this case, we've got something that's hexagonal, and it's bled out something here. So this isn't just a straight impact. Something happened here, and then it came out and did more. It kind of like some substructure came out. I'm loving this sample, Hank. Thank you very, very much for sharing this. And like I say, we're going to be able to look at this with a microscopy, and we're going to be able to turn on the... look at the size of that thing. We're going to be able to get some scales on this when we put it under the other microscope. I'm going to turn on the light here. Okay. So this gives us a different view on it. It actually pulls out the smooth parts of the glass and the damaged parts of the glass. I'm just going to rotate this round. So like, if I go over there, we get the reflection at a different angle, and it's doing some contrast adjusting there. Look at that! That's our spot we just had, but you can see how. Look at this one over here. It's got what looks very much like a pentagon in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 6 around the outside. So, and what's going on there? Very, very much smaller strike marks of the same kind of structure. Oh, hold on. Look at this strike mark. I see the radial pattern around it. Okay, so we're going to want to definitely look at this under the microscope. Scotty, you're all seeing this the same as me. What? What? Look at that thing. Look at that thing. Look at it. Look at it! Oh, I really want to get rid of this framework on here. Can I? Is there a way I can get rid of that? I'm going to press buttons over here. I'm going to disappear and press buttons. Ah! 4K crop 29. What? Just no. No, not that. Oh, I can zoom in. Oh, we can zoom in. Okay, all right. We can zoom in and move around. Sorry for the wibbly wobbly vision. Right, so we're looking at this spot here. Okay, now maybe I can get that in better focus. Okay, all right. So there seems to be a dead zone in this one, and then there's this area here which is different, and then this coming out. But it's not so clear in this, but there is definitely a radial thing. Now, is this because it impacted here and then it's threw material out? I don't know. But it might be bleached out by the light. So this is when you have to look at it under different lighting. Ooh, okay, adjust for me, adjust for me. Okay, that's too little light, it thinks. Okay, all right. It's just not enough light. I don't know. I think probably when we get... I've got other lights in here. Maybe I can use a different light here. Get some side light on it. Is this going to work for me? Is this going to work for me? Okay. Come on. Give me a light. Give me a light. Oh, it's not charged. Damn you. My light's not charged. I got one on my phone. Let's try that one. The beauty of a torch on your phone. When your phone's turned on, that would help as well. Okay, not that one then. It's radial quartz vapor, is it? Okay. Maybe. I'm going to try some side lighting here. I can definitely see some spokes coming out of there, and this might be something that has to be viewed with some sort of what do you call it? Try and get a better angle on that. Okay. I'm quite determined to get rid of that. Erase images, no. Give me a second. I'm gonna see if I can get rid of this raw images processing. Right. Talk amongst yourselves. Ah, there we go. Clean full HD output. Okay, right. Hey! Hey! We don't have any lines on it now. We're lucky. We're lucky. Right, there we go. E presto! No line on the image. Sorry for the Italians out there, my terrible Italian accent there. So, if you thought that was Italian. Let's zoom into that. Can we zoom into that? No, it's not going to allow me to zoom in. Why is that? All right. Oh, because it's only going to give the full HD output. Okay. All right. I forced it to do something. Oh well. We can look at it on the other microscope. So let's have a look around at some other splodges. Down here again. So. You haven't got any, look at that. That is, it's just a sea of these impacts. It's just a sea. all over. I'm going to see if I can lower this down and then refocus so we can get a tighter shot. Okay, that's probably the limit we've got there with this technology. Okay. All right. It's not so shabby. Okay. Okay, and these ones, these are almost inverted. Look at that. So they've got the stuff on the outside and still a spot in the middle. So would these be different type poles? I don't know. Look at this one over here. Look, it's got a really white spot in the middle, a relatively unaffected area, and then a damaged area on the outside. Again, white spot in the middle, relatively unaffected area, and stuff on the outside. A lot of these are of this type, actually, over here. The kind of inverse of what we saw down the bottom. So this is towards the top, actually. Okay. Right. Okay, I'll rotate this one round here. So these ones, yeah, these are definitely different. Unless they're just more energetic and they're throwing more stuff around the outside. Okay, these are, oh, look at that lot. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to change the lighting on this. Look at that. Okay, I can literally just push down the table and change the focal plane here. Lifting up the table, pushing down the table. There we go. I'm going to focus on the left side there. No, let's go to the right side. There we go. Okay. Of course, my mugshot's in the way, so you can't see what I can see. There we go. Try that. Okay. I'm going to throw some light on here using the macro lenses light. Whoa, that's a lot of light. Oh no, come on. Has it got? I've got it in some manual mode now. That's no good, is it? You going to change my ISO? No. Oh dear. Okay. Alright, well that didn't work, did it? Go back to no light. Not lots of light. Okay. Alright, no light. We'll leave it like that for the minute, it's okay. We'll chuck it under the other under the microscope in a second. Right. So I'm loving this. So this is the sort of thing where I'd spend like a day going around something, but you're going to see this with me for the first time, so that's always a pleasure. Look at that. I mean, it looks like here it's burrowed a very deep hole in there. It'd be nice to get a confocal microscope on here, and so this definitely looks like a point in there, and this looks like a toroidal structure. So this looks like this came flat on, like the donut had gone like this, it's gone on the surface. And in this case, it looks like the donut has come in like that. So one is where it's creating the spot, and it's gone in like that, yeah, like that. And the other ones are like it's gone in like that, yeah. So this is the spot, and then this is the donut shape here. Just going to shift the focal plane here. Don't know how long the battery will last on this camera. As we go down towards the end, it gets more and more impact marks. And so, as with ever with these systems, sometimes it's better to look on the periphery because there isn't too much damage. It's definitely on one side more than the other. These are just little ones on the other side. That's an interesting one. Look at that. Ooh. Ah, okay. We want to look at that under the microscope. That is not the same as the other ones. That looks like a more ball cluster that's hit. So rather than a flat toroid, this looks more like a mesh. Yeah? That would be good. Spectroscopy would be good, but don't have that right now. I'm going to take a optical spectrometer when I go and visit Henk, and we're going to do some experiments and try and capture it to see if there's any transmutation on the fly. So here is a nice example here. There. Very, very nicely isolated structure. I think the smaller structures are going to see some of the detail in them because they do less overall damage to the quartz, so you get to see more of what they did. So this is out of reactor where we have seen in videos captured by Henk and in replications conducted by, now look at the damage on that one there, by David Boutelier in Canada. Coherent matter, traveling waves, ball lightning effects, and so forth. Look at these splots here. Now these look like they've carried a large amount of metal and rammed it into the surface. Look at that. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised, my dear friends, if we didn't find that these had crenellated spheres in them. These here, this here, this over here. I would not be surprised if some of these aren't actually crenellated spheres. I'm just putting it out there. I have no idea. But these are going to be look nice, I think, under the microscope, the optical microscope. So this is very much more intense here. So there is a lot more matter carried with these ones. So whilst we can't see the individual structures as clearly, we can see the material that's been carried by them. So just to refresh, this thing was vertical in the cell, okay, and the impacts were coming from the side in, like this, horizontal, okay. So that's what you're seeing in these impact marks. You're seeing a first time here. This is just this is a first time. This is live and first time. Now, why am I showing you this? Why did I choose to show this to you today? Well, it goes with the theme of the presentation that whatever has gone on with this sample over here, whatever's gone on over there, whatever has gone on is the truth. It is the truth. And whatever theory you have, it has to be able to explain all of the observations we are observing here real time. Look at that. I pretty much believe that this will be a metal sphere. Pretty sure. And it would be absolutely incredible if it was a crenellated metal sphere embedded into this structure here. It would not surprise me, but I would be very happy to see that. Okay. I'm going to rotate this round. A bit blurry there, isn't it? It's blurry there, Bob. Just too much going on there to actually see anything. Is that just post experiment damage, or is that something that's been moving around on there? Don't know. Oh, it's not so easy. Okay. Look at those beauties. So yeah, definitely you've got some that are very, very focal points, and then you've got these ones that are more toroidal. Actually, can we see on this toroidal something coming out here? Is this bit like a birdie? I don't know. This one here. Don't know. Maybe. Oh, what is this one? What is going on with that? I don't know what's going on with here, but something appears to have gone along and cut a channel. And periodically it's dumped something very shiny. Shiny. This, I think, is the first thing I want to look at under the microscope. So I can see where that is. So I think I'm gonna transfer now over to the microscope, hopefully, and we can see with a little bit more fidelity, but in different ways. It's more fidelity, but in a different way. Okay, so I'm gonna see what I can do here to switch this over. So bear with me. I'm going to move you down there. Now, unfortunately, my microscope is going through a hub, this hub, and it's only USB 3, and it's got network going through it and stuff, and so it will flicker. It's annoying, sorry, it's just what it is, but that's what we're going to have to live with. So, let me turn on the microscope. Okay. All right. Now, I'll try and move this over. How can I do that? I think I'm going to do it like, yeah, I'm going to do it like that. So I'm going to go like that. Move that over there. We're going to rotate it around. Oh! Don't die on me. Okay, we're going to go around there. And we should be able to switch between technologies relatively quickly. Okay, alright. Let's move that over. Okay, alright, over there. Oh no, I think I've oh no I haven't, there it is. There's that little scratch thing that I want. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves. That's odd. Oh, I know what's going on. I've got the lens cap on. Alright. What an idiot. Okay, I can see it's in frame now. Okay, alright. Okay. Just so that you see what I'm seeing, which is not a lot at the moment. Not a lot. Not seeing a lot. Very nearly there. If my computer Windows will stop auto-sizing windows for me. That'll help me. Right, okay. That is what I'm seeing, which is not a lot. No, that's not what I'm seeing. I want to see, yes, I want to see that one, but I need to turn on that. Okay, all right. So sorry about the flickering. It's just an artifact of the hub. All right, so I'm going to try and take this into focus. Is it going to give me focus? Okay, now I'm looking through the back to the desk, which is not what I want to be looking at. I want to be looking at the front side. Okay. I don't know whether this is going to give us any more resolution. But I want to see that cut line. Where is it? Too much light. Too much light, maybe too much specular. I think I preferred the camera. Where is that thing? Somewhere here, if I'm not mistaken. No. It's where the macroscopic look is better than a microscopic look. I don't know, I quite like this, what's going on here. Am I looking through the backside? Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to go to the... If you're interested, sometimes I talk to myself like this when I'm on my own. Okay. Alright, I don't actually know whether I'm on the front side or the back side. I'm going to go to this one first. Alright. Kind of like the other camera roll. Right. Can we get that in focus? Well, if that did hit straight, I don't think that hit straight on, did it? Or even if it looked, is that a cluster? Is that a cluster of a number of them? Don't know. Am I at the maximum magnification here or not? Don't know whether I am. No, I'm not, but I can't. Okay. Okay, so this is just at 50 times or whatever, so anyway, let's see if we can get round to the other side. Get that scratch there, and there. I'm going to switch this round, it was easier the other way round. This is when things can be a bit tedious. Sorry. Some interesting structure. So I've lost the thing that I was wanting to look at first, but anyway, that's such is life. It's still there. So if I come here, I can actually adjust the lighting on this so that we can see in different ways what we're looking at here. Now it would be nice to be able to go into one of these. So we're going to find a nice one and maybe something with a little bit more detail. Okay, so there you can see straight impact ones and ones that I would suggest have come in on the side. Yeah? Maybe I can do a focus on this. Actually, can I let me do that? What have I got the button set to? I'm going to find out. Okay, it's doing focus. So now I can do fine focus. So the question is when this is a donut shape here, like, sorry, a elliptical shape, have we got two spots? If we have, then we have a very, very detailed confirmation of what we're looking at. Now, can I at the moment it says I'm 38.2 times magnified. Sorry about the flickering. If you're epileptic, walk away. I'm gonna try and zoom into this because we should be able to go into this 200 times. We're at 38 times now, and we should be able to see whether in this elliptical area we have 2 spots. If so, then I think we have 100% confirmation of the structure of these things by looking at nature, by looking at what nature did. Not an opinion, what it did. Of course, the opinion is, are these 2 spots part of a tori? But of course, you know. Okay, so I'm going to go in. Got a fly in my hair now. Not helpful. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing anything. Why am I not seeing anything? Give me some more light. Okay, all right. No, I'm not seeing anything there. Okay, so I need to probably move the head of the microscope down a bit. Okay. There we go. All right, now we're getting some closer look at this thing. All right. Now, where was that other one? Not that one. No. Oh, dear. Okay, do we see something that looks like 2 spots in this toroidal structure? Is that what's going on? Is that one side here? One side, and then you've got the sweep? I don't know, but we've got plenty of examples here of these ones to look at. You can see there's that spots within spots. It's interesting. One can imagine that whatever this white area is here was laid down with this big one, and then this one came along and it swept the stuff away. Or maybe one came in and sat here, and when this one laid its material down, it couldn't lay it on this area. Or this was traveling with this. I don't know. But this is, I think we need to look at other examples of elliptical ones to see if we can see a clearer definition of the 2 halves. Okay. So we're going to have a look for more elliptical examples. In fact, that one over there, this one over here might be a good example, but I don't know. Let's have a look somewhere around here. I need to turn the light down when I'm this close. Oh dear. that is the camera dying, so I have to kill it. Or has the software died? No. I have to turn it back on again. Okay. So all of this flashing does not occur if I have it directly wired. It's only because it's going through a hub. So sorry. Well, that's a hot mess there, isn't it? I kind of like the centre of that one. I'll have a look at that one. Why not? I can get it in the centre. Come on. Gravity's quite annoying sometimes. No. It's tedious with the flashing. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Go on. Can have a look at these two maybe. I will fix this to the table so that I can get a better purchase on it in a different session. Sometimes when you're doing things live, things don't go just the way you want them to, and that's just life. Well, that's nice. Well, isn't that a lovely little toroid there? Yeah, I'm going to move this and it's going to go haywire. I've got things moving in such a multi-axial way. Okay, alright, there we go. What have we got there in that one? Okay, so is this one struck on its side, or is this two that were flying together? This one looks like it's definitely hit end on. And so, is this the thing that's causing this entire field, or is this just the central focal point? Answers on a postcard. Tedious, come on. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll let you know if there's anything interesting. Yeah, I kind of like the macro photography better. Now, there's two dark spots here. I'm going to try and attempt to get to the centre of this big one over here. It's going to let me do that. So we can't see the overall impact zones on these, but why is that going green and blue? That's a bit bizarre. I'd love to find that big spot that we saw earlier that looked more like a ball impact. I'm going to have to do a long-term survey on this. Does this have a skin around it? I don't know. I hope Hank's will be able to see this. I should have told him, really. I should have said, Hank, I'm going to have a look at your tube today. What have we got over here? I'm going to scale a couple of these things just for the sake of it, right? So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided structure here in the center is, so the core of that is a radius of 67.71 microns. So that's about 114, 115 so microns across. And let's have a look at some of this one. This one here is obviously smaller. I'll go and have a look at it. No, didn't want to do that. Let's go and do that now. Let's have a look at some other ones. What I'll do is I'll go and have a look at the different magnification level. Scale some of these structures. Oh, I think I've lost the microscope. Oh, there we go. What's going on with that one? Look at that puppy. Hello. Very, very defined border here. Let's see. I'll go for a diameter of the central section, which is about 100 microns. And the overall, obviously it's so 100, 150, 140 microns. Could have done that easier, couldn't I? We do 2 lines. So across the center there, 207. And the other dimension, oh no, it's done that now. Come on, focus. Anyway, you get the idea. It's got a scale down the bottom there. When you're watching this, there's a scale down the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, whether it comes through on the YouTube. Kind of like that. Kind of like. See, this would be a nice one to map what the elements are. You know, are we just seeing quartz here? Is this iron rich? Is this got something else going on? Is this just a recrystallization of the quartz? Okay. I'm going to change the polarization on this to see if it tells us anything else. So that's one type of polarization. And I'm going to flick it back the other way. There we go. Make it pop out a bit more. There's several pits over here. So why am I showing you this? Because this is what nature did. This is actually nature's solution to a set of parameters that were given to it by Henk Uren. What does it all mean? That's where we come in now. What is in this? Is this a vortical twisty pit? I don't know. I'm going to take a picture of that. I'm going to make a anode sheet. I'll make a new one here. Should have taken a few other pictures actually. Right, ready? Because you can't see this, but this is actually at 2560 by 1920, so it's much higher resolution than YouTube is giving us. So I've got the magnifier up there, but I've got my mugshot over the top of it, so I need to move that. Give me a second, I will try and find a way of doing that. I will move me into a useless place. There we go, down there. So with this magnifier, I can focus in on the center here, and maybe in the top left hand corner you can see that over there it looks like there's a bit of helicity and another bit of helicity down here, okay, at the center spot. Now this is something that would come out quite clearly if you were looking at under SEM, and you would really see this, and we've seen these kind of helical structures on a Mars vibrator plates where it's consumed a chunk of material out of a pit. Okay, but of course here we're not in a cavitation system. So I'm going to take a picture of this little puppy. I don't know whether that's the one we looked at earlier, but we'll take a picture of both of those actually. So this looks like it's made up of a group of structures, making the overall structure. And then this one is quite a deep pit, actually. If I turn that down to 3 times magnification, can I move that magnifier? Yes, I can. Oh dear. Just trying to magnify the magnifier now. Now I've moved it over there, haven't I? Oh dear. Sometimes technical software isn't actually that great. If people use these things, they kind of get it working and they go, okay, right, that's good enough. Oh no, here we go again. If I'm on it and I drag, it comes very slowly with me. Oh no. It's just appallingly designed software. Oh dear. Why would I want it up there? Obviously I don't want it up there. Just come with me over there. Okay. I should be able to resize that window, but I can't. But here, look at this. We've got a definite boundary around the outside here, which is polygonal. and there's something right in the center of that pit there. I really would like to know what that is. That's at 8 times there. Look at that. Look at that little object in the center there. What is that? Don't know. I'm going to take a picture of that. Couple of pictures. Okay. Little kind of floret there. So these kind of impact marks, we're at the 205 times magnification. If I go to the center, say for instance of this one, and go out, we have 125 on the outer diameter. Then the inner zone is about 115 microns, and then you've got the very, very central part, which is about 25 microns on that particular one. And these are kind of the same kind of scale. There's one that has a clear image of itself. Come on, oh no. Sorry. It doesn't flicker like this normally when you don't have it going through this hub, which makes the whole thing much less painful to use. Okay, so I'm going to measure this one over on the left here, which has got a little bit too much light on it. So yeah, let's gain about 180 190 microns across, outer, inner about 80 microns, and then you've got the spot in the center. So I'm going to zoom out and we're going to go to the bigger scale to get some of the bigger dimension ones. Looks like a bit of a skid mark down here. So come out. Dial the brightness down a bit because it's a bit intense when you're looking at it like this. And then we'll go and have a look at some of the bigger ones over here. That's it. This one's got a big fat one. Look at that. Oh, that's really big. It's too big. Too big even for this shot. But we're going to do a radius on it, so I'll get an idea. So we saw this one earlier. I'm going to take a kind of rough center point radius from it. What's the center there? So this structure here is 7 millimeters across. That is quite large. I think you'll agree. Quite large, but it's not the largest one. This isn't the largest one either, but there's one that's a medium-sized one here, maybe. These two here. Let's get a view on how large these ones are. So we've got all kinds of different scales here. We've got a medium-sized one here, kind of like smaller brother, and then much smaller, all the way down to the itty-bitty ones. Okay, so we'll start with the big one. That is about 3.7 millimeters across, without changing the focal distance. I'm going to look at this one. This one is about 2.5, 2.3, 2.34 millimeters across. And then we've got a small one there. Why not? This one here. So that one is about 700 microns across, 670, something like that, microns across. So that they are a wide range of scales, and you can see some very small ones down there, so I'll refocus that. I'll take a shot of that so we got some scales. I'll move that into position. So this is going to take a lot more study. Come on, focus. Take a shot there. Okay, so I think probably you got the idea. I can go on for a little bit longer, but you know, it's going to be more of the same, I should expect. Now that we know what the size of those things are, is it worth looking at them under the other light? I don't know. It's not exposing that well. Give me a second. kind of like the macro look a little bit better, actually. But it doesn't necessarily give you all the facility to measure and stuff. So we're going to go back here. So I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I haven't been able to look at your comments because I had to drag you off screen whilst I was doing all that, so there we go. Yeah, so I kind of like the way we see it on here with the macro lens, and you know, maybe the light will adjust if I actually turn it on now. Yeah, I've got the light adjusting now. So I can actually use the ring light. It's just a lot higher quality, this sensor on this camera. Yeah, you can see a very, very, very clear pentagon here. Oh no, it's a hexagon rather. Forget what I said, hexagon. And I can change the field of view here by just lifting the table up and down. Focal plane rather. See all the different scales there. Okay, so I think that's probably enough of that for today, of the truth. This is the truth. How did it happen? How did it happen? Look at that one there. Is that a ball in there? Is it? In that one there. In that central area here. Is that a ball? Just it's a hot mess when you get so many impacts. Always look on the periphery. You see how this one over here, it's like, it's so clear. What you're looking at there is through to the other side of the tube. So it's completely unaffected. It's not, this is what I'm looking at here. Maybe if I switch my mugshot off. I'm talking about where I've got the mouse pointer here. Now watch as I change the focal plane. That is completely clear. It's not at all affected whatsoever. And yet around it, it's really seriously affected. Okay, all right. That was that. So happy Father's Day for all those out there that are lucky enough to have spawn. This was in invalidation, inference, and truth. And we started off by talking about this this dodecahedron, not rhombic dodecahedron, pentagonal dodecahedron, that has been found over all over the northern parts of the Roman Empire. And it has a lot of supposition and inference and so on, and some theories are invalidated by other theories and so forth. But I just thought it was very interesting that Charles sent this to me. It was the first time I was exposed to it because it looks so similar to the structure. And I was saying that this is the ether as per the alchemists, and that this could be an entire universe of prima materia in there with new elements being formed. But if you think about it, it could be like a whole universe going on. And there is this work where they are 91% sure that the cosmic microwave background radiation is projected onto a dodecahedron, which is just as Plato was told by whatever the character is that told him that. The stars or the heavens are written on to a dodecahedron. Something like that. And so the fact that they had to take tori and rotate them 36 degrees, and you had this 91% match on opposite sides of the heavens when you deduced where the polygonal sections were. I think this is all a bit of wonderful coincidence, maybe, or correlation, or supposition, or whatever is it? What is it? Is this true? Is it not? I don't know. Are we in a little spheroid dodecahedron bubble, and that is we're inside a kind of black hole with these toroidal structures, and the fact that it's, you know, one is kind of slight rotation of the other, are they these two pairs that kind of appeared a long time ago, and then they just grew out, consuming matter from another universe, and we're just in this. Is someone holding this on their shoulder? You know, is this a pendant on someone's neck? Are we a pendant on someone's neck? Don't know. But what we can see is that exotic vacuum objects, is, if that's what we're saying they are, or these ball lightning impacts on the Henk-Uren Vega sample, which is a piece of quartz, have a very, very defined structure. And it will be interesting to see what these cores are, if they are iron rich in the core. Now, bearing in mind there's iron in the reactor, that it doesn't really bother me that that's iron in the reactor. It's just that iron wants to be a part of the core of these things. That tells you something. That tells you something. Nature is telling you something by revealing that information to you. And that they have these very geometrical sort of structures to them. That is telling us something. And the fact that sometimes they're not affecting the center at all, or sometimes they're totally affecting the center, they are two kinds of these structures. And we've seen this in a wide array of experiments. Now, here's a nice one. Is this a pair that we're seeing here? Is this a pair? And one's got the reddy brown area on it. Is this a smackdown? Is this actually carbon somehow? And this is a hole. Is this a pit and this is deposit? Is this one large torus? I don't know. Is this one large torus and you've got two structures? Yeah, don't know. A deeper look, a more detailed look, will let us know what is truth and what is fiction. Okay, so I'm going to read a few of your questions, if you've got anything specific. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of, that's it. I kind of peering behind the curtain and it is a little bit naughty. Yeah, that's kind of exactly what it is, yeah. So Cosmic Dave says, maybe we are in a dodecahedron interference 5D hologram projecting in on itself. Maybe. Maybe. Hi, Wobbly Boost. Great to have you. It's going to be 38 degrees here tomorrow in the Czech Republic. So I'm not sure I could do this stream. As a programming note, I might not be doing a stream next week or the week after, but I will be doing some blog articles. So look out for those. I'm going to be moving around. Maybe even go and visit Cosmic Dave if he's not too scared of me. Thanks, Gordon. I'll pass that on. Yes, of course. Thanks. Everything is possible because of my darling wife and my tolerant children. So, for those people that have been gracious enough to support me on remoteview.ico, I reached out to them and said, look, if you want a credit at the end of my presentations, I'm very happy to do that. And so I have a credit page here. I'll get rid of my mugshot. And if I've missed you, that's because I've missed you. But those people that have already come to me and said, yes, I'll be happy to be credited. Ration Tesla is his pseudonym, Jacob Holland. Thank you. Thank you, Chris Scott from Exafuse. Cosmic Dave, his full name for those that wish to know, is David Watson. Peter S. and Dominic Eckelman. So thank you, guys. I will be adding to this list as people wish for their name to be credited. And really, it makes a huge difference to me that you can find it within yourselves to support the work that I do. And I also want to thank those people that support the MFMP, because that is how the actual work gets done. There's one thing to be able to survive and be able to do the work, but you know, things cost money, and so even the equipment that I'm using here to talk to you on, you know, people like Charles and actually Charles, to Charles, and many people have supported it. More recently, Steve. So thank you guys for your support for the project, and we're looking at doing some amazing things moving forward, and we're doing it with a clearer understanding of what the universe is trying to tell us. What you're seeing on the screen is truth. It's just how we interpret it that really will help us move forward or not. Excellent, Cosmic Dave. I'm going to do a update on the bagels probably tomorrow or Tuesday. There's quite a bit of information to share, so I'll do that. Yeah, space case. I think don't try and overdo the narrowness of the pitch on the initial coil, particularly if you're doing a 4-level tour, because it will it just will restrict the amount of flexibility you have for the coils. Okay, what I'm going to do is I want to get an earlier night tonight, so and I'm sure that'll be great for people like Gordon in the UK and other people in Germany. I know it's okay for Mescal because he's in Australia, so he's at the start of his day, whereas we in Europe are moving into the midnight and beyond, and in America you are in the middle of your day or in the morning, depending on which coast you're on. But so for those people in Europe, I'm going to probably call it a day today, and thank you, and leave you with this question: Are we living inside a black hole, and is our universe consuming matter from another larger galaxy in a different set of parameters, constants for space-time? And when we look out and see the edge of our universe, are we actually looking at a set of very, very large vacuum vortex structures that are interacting with a different space-time and bringing prima materia into our universe, and from that everything is built? Is that what's happening? I don't know. Just it's interesting. It's infinite in that case. If it would be that case, then it's just fractal. We're living in a bubble, which is, people are looking at a black hole and they're saying, what's beyond the black hole? What's inside? Don't know. But we know that when we do our experiments, that there are these shelled structures which are kind of like hollow, and inside it would appear that matter is broken down into prima materia, and it regenerates nucleons, electronuclear regeneration. So there we go. Yeah, I mean, so D2105K says it would be interesting to go to all the far edge of the universe and then find yourself back on the other side of the universe. But my hypothesis here is that isn't actually what's happening. You would go to the coherent matter layer and you would become more prima materia for the universe. And what you're seeing here is not a wraparound universe. It's a reflection of the structure that built our universe by consuming part of a universe outside of it, which has a different set of constants for its space-time. And we are just one atom. We're one little black hole, but that itself is a very small component of a much larger thing. as above, so below. And could this piece of art also be a sacred religious symbol that understands the nature of our own existence? We are in our own little bubble. Isn't that true? Our own little bubble. And all of these things are trying to make their own little bubbles. They failed. They're still part of our bubble, but they obey the same overall universal rules. Okay, so thank you very, very much, guys. I will have a look at your chat tomorrow when I review the stream. And if there's any pertinent questions, I will try to answer them in remoteview.icu. I will copy the links that I shared today with regard to the dodecahedra and the dodecahedra structure of the universe, which is 91% likely to be true. Of course, you have to assume that the image of the cosmic microwave background radiation is valid. There we go. So thank you very much for your time. Buenas noches, dobro noc, buenas sera, good night.